Yo, Schnooskies and Rooskies, Butterfooskies and Mofachuchies, Kashnaki Fnarkin Flarkin Lot. Okay, to the point. Here's a newly acquired Rhodes project. It's a 1979 Suitcase. It looks like this. Ding. Here she is. Obviously, maybe you don't know, the difference between a stage piano and a Suitcase model is this bottom portion. I mean, really the Rhodes, whenever you strap the lid on it, it's kind of a Suitcase too, but they call the ones without the bottom a stage. So I was pretty excited to get this instrument because I've never had a Suitcase. And the Suitcase is this. So you have the enclosure on the bottom, which is a rectangular box that the piano sits on. And the front is a baffle with a grill that holds these 2 12-inch speakers. And inside, also pointing towards the player, is another baffle with grill cloth that holds another 2 12-inch speakers, so that the Suitcase design of the Rhodes would be, if you have this bottom part to supplement your only the top stage part, you have your own amplification. And not only do you have your own amplification, you have a pseudo monitor system as being 2 12-inch speakers that face the player and 2 12-inch speakers that face outward towards the audience, which to me seems very desirable and efficient way of amplifying a Rhodes. And what is even more appealing to me about that is that anybody knows, if you're a piano player or an organ player, that when you play you like to feel the sound, not just hear it with your ears. And as you play an acoustic grand piano with the lid up, you hear the resonance within the harp, which is a big, thick, sheening sound that you can also sense on your skin and body, as well as hearing the sound with your ears. And the better musicians learn to play to feel, play to the sound, as Tony Williams did. So having 2 12-inch speakers in this enclosure that blow back on the player's legs, to me seems highly desirable, because you can feel it more. So I was excited to get this. The process has been that the Suitcase piano, which is this, as opposed to the stage model, which is this. Now you can see that the name board or the front rail is on this stage piano, and it doesn't have a preamp, but your only controls are a bass boost and a volume control and an output jack. So the stage piano, with no amplification on the bottom, is passive. So the signal that comes out of it is very weak and limited in dynamic range because there's no electronics to boost the signal. So what comes out of here is only the signal coming off of your electroacoustic pickups, which is a magnet wrapped in some wire. So the output coming out of the stage is fairly weak, and they make second-party preamps that you can retrofit here in the rail to add active electronics, either with a battery or a power supply. So the difference being, on the Suitcase piano, although it's not here at the moment because I had to take it out, it has its own built-in preamp that is powered by the onboard Janus amplifier, which goes into the side of the box. So in addition to having a stereo power amplifier in this Janus module, 2 separate amplifier modules at 50 watts apiece, it also has a little power supply board that gives -15 and +15 to a preamp that whenever I get it back will go in the rail in the front, that will have a slider with treble and bass, a volume pot, and then a set of controls for a stereo tremolo, of which you can adjust the depth and the speed. And the stage pianos do not have that preamp, so I was excited to get this piano. I figured out fairly quickly that the preamp was not working. I wasn't sure about the power amp, so I found an online repair service, Axiom Studios in Missouri, and if you take the preamp out, take it off the rail, mail it in, they'll rebuild it for you. So I did that for $90. They're going to rebuild the preamp, send it back. And while I was waiting, I got antsy because I had never tested the amp, because I did that first. I was like, well, if the preamp doesn't work, how am I going to be able to test the amp? Well, the answer is I'm taking the signal right off of the harp of the piano. So here is your RCA output, no preamp whatsoever, and I'm taking that signal of the piano and running that into my Peavey LM-8 line mixer. And then I took the Janus amp out of the enclosure here. I'm not going to move it because I have it plugged in, and took the outputs of the Peavey LM-8, stereo left and right, and plugged them into the power amp inputs on the Janus, which it has 2 jacks for specifically this purpose, which is extremely helpful. And then plug the speakers, the internal 12s, their jacks inside, and sure enough, the amp works. The Janus amp, both sides of it work. I'm extremely elated, and so now I don't have to worry about repairing So a bit of success tonight. Preamp is being repaired. The power amp works, which means that I'm going to have a functioning 1979 Rhodes 73 Suitcase piano. Peace.